Welcome everybody to the fourth episode of 20Somethings TV Roundtable Discussion. I'm your host, Mason Martin, along with
Alyssa Patello
and Sean Fay Wolf.
Today, along with our varying topics of discussion, we will also play a fun game for you guys. Hopefully you'll enjoy these topics of politics and entertainment as we move on to the fourth episode of 20Somethings TV.
Welcome back, and we have a very special segment with a few actual guest hosts, believe it or not. I would like to introduce...
My name is Christian.
I'm LJ.
Yeah.
And this is my foot tattoo.
Yeah, and we will be talking about why LJ is holding up her foot and the tattoo thereon in just a moment. And that actually all relates back to one of the biggest controversies in gaming of the past year. Christian,
sir.
would you like to tell us a bit more about what's going on there?
Sure thing. So Bethesda Game Studios, owner of such classics as Skyrim, Morrowind, which was Game of the Year on the original Xbox, they've basically been making amazing games for a long, long time. A lot of these single-player games that have just been like a huge. I mean, obviously LJ has it tattooed. I'm wearing the shirt. I'm a huge fan of this game series.
Yes.
However, the latest addition to the Fallout franchise family, Fallout 76, was little less than spectacular.
It was absolutely disappointing. I have not been this disappointed, I think, since the election, honestly. It's pretty disappointing.
Big words, wow.
Yeah. As you see, I have a tattoo for this video game. I'm very invested. And Fallout 3 was an iconic game. I truly believe it changed the face of gaming.
And New Vegas was good as well.
New Vegas, absolutely phenomenal follow-up. Fallout 4, I thought, was a little iffy. I thought maybe they could make it up with this new game, but it seems all they care about is what the popular kids want to play, I guess, just with their run and guns, their Fortnite. Shouldn't be like that.
And so one of the main issues with this new Fallout game was the fact that Fallout is known for its amazing stories, its amazing storytellings, its memorable characters and such. Fallout 76 had a weird thing where they just decided we're going to have it all be multiplayer and we're not going to have a single character. It's all going to be, you're going to be role-playing with people that you don't know, and I'm like, I don't want a game with like Swag Dog 98.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what this is.
It's bold of them to assume I like others.
It's a very empty game.
Yeah, and I think we can all agree that there is a time and place for games that are focused on the online. But I think like the biggest controversy for all this is that is not what Fallout is. And like even if they were trying something new and they retained some elements, I'm sure that there wouldn't be as big a controversy there. But it's like it just seems to me as an outsider to the series that just looking in from what everyone's saying is this game pretty much like abandoned like all of the core of what made Fallout so beloved.
Yeah, the quality just went downhill, honestly.
And one of the other main factors to why there's such a big controversy as well is also because of the, I believe it was the Power Armor Edition Fallout pre-order, which came with a bunch of stuff and it cost a lot of money. But
special edition of the game.
Yeah,
basically.
but basically what was on the picture was a really fancy bag that you could have your helmet in, and this is what they got. It's about a $70 worth bag right here.
Yeah, speaking of the quality going down, so yeah, you basically you paid extra money to pre-order this game with a bunch of really cool extra content that is based on the series.
This is before you even play the game that was Fallout 76.
Yeah.
Right, and this is like,
Disappointing when you open it.
yeah, honestly, it just sort of shows its cards right out of the gate. I
So right now, basically what they're going to have to try and do is, because Bethesda operates on they make a new game every couple of years usually, or every 4 years sometimes. This is now the face of their company, and it's going to be the face of their company for the next 2 years, and they've already gotten more hate than I've seen on any game in my entire, like, I'm actually, like, I didn't like the game, but like some of the like angry gamers are just like, whoa. So I don't know what they're going to try and do, if they're going to try and accelerate their next game, if they're going to try and bring the sequel to Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 6 out earlier. I just don't know how they're going to try and recover from this.
Yeah, it's sort of like, you had your chance to define this new era of your company, just like, that seems to be, what they are. They are a company which, like, every new release is an event. And so when one of those events is botched, you really feel it, and you have to try and live with it. It's almost like a new game console coming out. Just like if the console isn't good, then you're stuck with it for a few years. And it seems that it means that much to people. Crazy.
Ain't that life?
Yeah.
Disappointing.
Very disappointing. But I hope what you will not be disappointed in is the continuation of our discussion. We are going to have a new topic in just a few minutes. And we will see you then on this episode of 20Somethings TV.
Peace.
Dreamcatcher in the rearview mirror hasn't caught a thing yet. $20 on a souvenir. Anything's worth trying to stay out of your nightmares. Few hours in your dreams last night always end up dying. You said because of course I did. Always manage to move in right next to cemeteries, and never far from a hospital. I don't know what that tells you about me. Pulling thorns out of my palm, work a midnight surgery. When you cut a hole into my palm, do you hate what you see like I do?
Welcome back to 20-Somethings TV. This time, we're going to get a little in-depth on politics and internet politics. Sean, explain more.
All right, so up on the chopping block today, we have Article 13, which is a piece of legislation that has been recently passed by the European Union. And people are getting all up in arms about it. And if I may give you the very, brief, not from a lawyer definition of it, basically what it means is that within Europe, it gets rid of something called safe harbor protections. And the very, very abridged version of that means that now websites that host content are more directly legally responsible for the clips that they upload, which, it's basically an anti-piracy act is what it is. It's trying to stop people from pirating things. But that also has the consequence of that now a bunch of companies are being much more, I guess you could say, hawkish about the stuff that's hosted on their website. A lot of the stuff that gets popular on the internet is based on, existing stuff in pop culture that is owned, the copyright of which is owned by other people. And now that Article 13 is passed, there's a possibility that these websites are going to be much more stingy with allowing copyrighted material to be used in stuff such as parodies, including things like YouTube videos and even memes. So, yeah.
Well, so the big fear from a lot of people is that potentially, a company might decide they want to copyright everything, like, the smallest still from a picture or something, and then so basically, you look at your average meme. For example, a SpongeBob meme. SpongeBob's technically a legal property of Nickelodeon. So if this develops, there's a chance that any meme with the SpongeBob needs to get taken down, or you need to pay to be able to have a license to it. But that's very extreme. That's not really what it is. But that's just like what the fear that most people have on the internet.
Right, because the law, Article 13, does allow for parodies and caricatures.
Yep.
So technically memes are allowed, so don't be worried. Memes are allowed. You can still make your glorious memes of the 21st century.
Yeah, but I think what people don't like about this is, everyone has a different, definition of where the line is drawn in terms of what's parody and what's, reusing that. And previously, what safe harbor meant is there was a buffer between the people and, the companies, that allowed, that basically made it, safer. And now that buffer is gone, so now basically these companies are going to be much more paranoid about getting sued, and that's going to mean potentially a lot more takedowns. And let me just tell you guys, this is an article that is, this is an issue that is very close to my heart because I actually do have my own YouTube channel.
Same I do as well.
Yeah, it's called, what's yours?
Leaker98. There you go.
And
It's more so my Twitch, just so you guys know.
Yeah, and mine is called Diamond Studios Music. And on my channel, I just talk about, music and sort of review it in a comedic way. And obviously talking about music requires using the actual copyrighted music. And I use it in a completely fair way. I'm not trying to re-upload just the songs as is or anything. I'm commenting on them and trying to critique and analyze them. And ever since Article 13 passed, because YouTube has been more paranoid about, getting sued, or at least they're gearing up for that, I have had a lot of my videos, which I work very hard on, taken down. I've had 10 videos taken down in 3 days, and that's crazy.
Yeah, there's definitely been a big issue. A lot of, their copyright detection is way up there. There's a lot more, small things getting claimed. It's for the big YouTubers that make their living off of this, it's actually, while it's going to more affect for the time being the European creators, it has a really good chance of getting rid of a lot of their money flow, because if all their videos are getting demonetized because they're copyrighted material, they're not going to make any money, and it's going to ruin their livelihood.
Yeah. Right, and unfortunately this is all talk right now, and we won't know until it actually happens. So thank you for those self-plugins, and we'll see you guys in the next segment on 20-Somethings TV. And welcome to our final topic of the episode. Well, it seems as Disney is taking over the world. Sean, why don't you tell us more about it?
I'd love to, Mason. Yes, this segment is going to be discussing the fun and fanciful topic of the Disney Vortex. Anyway, so Disney has obviously been making headlines for pretty much, the past decade straight, honestly, for buying up pretty much anything it can get its hands on. It's been buying up the Jim Henson Company, it bought up Marvel, it bought up Lucasfilms, it's buying up, all these different properties, just absorbing them into the brand. But what's really got people alarmed recently, I think, is their acquisition of 20th Century Fox. And I think what's getting people alarmed this time is that this is not just Disney buying up a brand, this is Disney buying up like another media conglomerate. This is Disney absorbing one of its rivals. And so I think that's really gotten people talking about whether or not Disney is starting to monopolize the entertainment industry. There's that scary word there, monopoly. So what do you guys think? Do you think that there's any weight to this argument?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's definitely an oligopoly right now, and it's heading towards monopoly very quickly, which is scary, especially for people looking to work in the film industry. You want to work for different companies. You need that competition. You need the diversity of thoughts and ideas and practices and ways of doing things. So it's kind of scary that they're just taking over everything, even though whatever they do it pretty well. I think it's still scary.
It definitely is. I mean, I remember learning about this, that nobody can have a monopoly over things. Like, somebody's going to stop and be like, whoa, wait a minute. You can't be taking in all this money and taking over everything. So who comes in at that point? Or who's going to stop it?
Where's the line?
I mean, yeah, it is illegal to have a monopoly in the United States. So at some point, some kind of rule, some kind of federal government maybe, I don't know, it's going to have to step in, and I don't know. This is crazy.
Where does the line get drawn? Like, at what point is Disney going to stop and be like, all right, Disney, that's it. You've had enough?
I don't know. And I think like what sort of is, one reason that people might, not be taking this as seriously, at least as of this point, is the fact that for right now, Disney is still putting out a lot of good stuff. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I've loved like most of the animations that they've put, like the animated films that they've put out of the, in the past few years. I'm definitely a big Disney guy, and again, I know that there's like contention there, but I really like the Star Wars movies they've come out. A lot of the Marvel movies are obviously huge blockbusters. But I think this goes back to something we talked about the last episode with the streaming services. We talked about how the market there is starting to really diversify for, the first time as it comes into its own. And I think that competition is really necessary for an industry to be healthy. It not only keeps the prices from going up too high, but it also incentivizes people to try and outdo each other. And competition, breeds creativity.
Absolutely. For the sake of the consumer and the sake of the viewer, you need competition. You need diversity. You just need it.
Yeah. I don't know when they step in, but someone might need to.
Oh. Well, hopefully we don't get an actual Disney Monopoly board game, in real life. But thank you all for tuning in to episode 4 of 20Somethings TV. This has been a wonderful, lovely episode in which we've had special guests and our lovely host right here.
Alyssa Vitello.
Sean Fay Wolf.
And I'm Mason Martin, signing off from 20Somethings TV. Bye-bye.
I can hardly feel anything, I hardly feel anything at all. You gave me 1,500 to see your hypnotherapist. I only went one time, you let it slide. Fell on hard times a year ago, was hoping you would let it go, and you did. I have emotional motion sickness. Somebody roll the windows down. There are no words in the English language that I could scream to drown you out. I'm on the outside looking through. You're throwing rocks around your room, and while you're bleeding on your back in the glass, I was glad that I made it out. Sorry that it all went down like it did. I have emotional motion sickness. Somebody roll the windows down. There are no words in the English language that I could scream to drown you out. And why do you sing with an English accent? I guess it's too late to change it now. You know I'm never gonna let you have this, but I could try to drown you out. You said when you met me, you were bored. You said when you met me, you were bored. And you were in a band when I was born. I have emotional motion sickness. I try to stay clean and live without. And I wanna know what would happen if I surrender